So, are you ready to completely change the game on your sales outreach? In this explainer, we are going to dive into how you can use AI prompt engineering to automate your sales emails. And I mean, really automate them, to save a ridiculous amount of time and get way, way better results.
All right, let's kick things off with a number that probably hits a little too close to home for any sales rep out there. 3 to 4 hours. Yeah, that is how much time the average salesperson is spending just writing and sending emails every single day.
And for all that grinding, all that manual effort, what's the actual payoff? Well, it's this. A pretty depressing 1 to 3% average response rate. It's just a massive time suck for a tiny, tiny return. But what if we could completely flip that on its head?
So here's our game plan. We'll start by really digging into the core problem, then we'll introduce the AI prompt solution. I'm going to show you some pretty stunning before and after examples, break down the exact winning formula you can steal, and finally, we'll look at the incredible payoff that's waiting for you.
Okay, first things first. Before we can solve the problem, we've got to truly understand it. Let's get real about why most sales emails just, completely fail.
I mean, does this list look familiar or what? The emails are too generic, they have zero real personalization, the subject lines are boring, the value isn't clear at all, the tone just screams salesy, and the call to action feels like a total afterthought. This is the daily struggle, and it's exactly why those response rates are stuck in the mud.
But here's the really good news. We can fix all of those problems, and we can do it systematically. This brings us to the solution: AI-powered automation. Let's see how this creates a much, much better way forward. So what are we really talking about here? It's this: sales email automation. Now this is not, and I repeat, not about just blasting out generic templates. The absolute key here is using smart, well-designed prompt engineering to create genuinely personalized and super effective emails at a massive scale, with almost no manual work.
And the benefits? They're kind of staggering. We are talking about a 70 to 85% cut in the time it takes you to write emails. We're talking a 2 to 3 times higher response rate. And on top of all that, you get perfect message consistency and true, scalable personalization. It's a game changer. All right, now for the really fun part. Talk is cheap. So let's look at the real-world night and day difference between a lazy prompt and a well-engineered one. This is where the magic really happens.
Okay, on the left, you see a prompt that a lot of people might try. Write a sales email to sell our software. It's simple, it's lazy, and honestly, you're going to get a useless result. But then look at the right. That is a properly engineered prompt. It is packed with context: who the prospect is, research from their LinkedIn, their company's recent funding news, their specific pain points, a quantified value prop, and the exact structure we need the email to have. You got to remember, the quality of your output is 100% dictated by the quality of your input.
And right here, this is the result of that difference. That bad prompt? It gives you a generic, totally forgettable email that's going to be deleted in half a second. But the engineered prompt, it produces a masterpiece. Look at that. It references the prospect's recent Series A funding, it mentions their hiring goals, and it speaks directly to their likely challenges. It's relevant, it's respectful, and it's valuable. So what's the secret sauce here? What really makes a difference? It's these 4 things. The good prompt gave a complete context, it defined a very specific and quantified value, it adapted to the buyer's persona, in this case an engineering VP, and it enforced a clear, persuasive structure. And here is the proof in the numbers. That generic email gets a typical 1% response rate, right where we started. But the email from our engineered prompt, it pulls in a 12% response rate. Just let that sink in for a second. That is a 12-fold increase in effectiveness. This isn't just a little better, it is a completely different league.
Now this might look like some kind of dark art, but it's not. It's a formula. It's a repeatable process that you can learn and start using right away. So let's break it down.
So how do you actually do it? How do you build a prompt that gets results like the one we just saw?
It really boils down to these 4 core parts. First, you feed it rich context. That's all your research on the prospect and their company. Second, you have to clearly define your value proposition with actual, quantified outcomes. Third, you adapt the message to the specific persona in the right tone. And fourth, you enforce the structure and constraints, like word count and even telling it what not to say.
And using this framework helps you dodge all the classic mistakes, right?
A good prompt forces you to avoid being generic. It makes you include those personalization details. It helps you craft a strong subject line, clarify your value, and match the tone to the buyer. It basically builds all the best practices right into your workflow.
Okay, let's bring this all home and look at what this really means for you day to day. What's the actual tangible return on investing just a few minutes into crafting a great prompt?
First up, time. You get 70 to 85% of your day back. Think about that. Instead of spending hours and hours manually trying to personalize emails, you're generating better ones in seconds. The time savings alone are absolutely transformative.
And second, results. You're not just saving time, you are getting dramatically better outcomes. A 2 to 3 times increase in positive response rates. I mean, that directly translates to more meetings, more demos, and a much, much healthier pipeline.
So, the big takeaway here is this. For years, sales has always felt like a choice. You could either send high-quality manual emails to a few people, or you could send low-quality generic emails to a ton of people. Well, that trade-off is now officially over. AI prompt engineering is how you finally get both quality and quantity.
And that really just leaves us with one last thought. If you save, say, 10 minutes per email and you automate 100 emails this week, you've just saved over 16 hours of your time. That's 2 full workdays you just got back. So the only question left is, what are you going to do with all that extra time?